folks, welcome back to another Top 5 with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today I'm going to take a look at my Top 5 Carcassonne versions, not expansions. I left all of the base game and the other expansions that go with the base game out of this list. This is other versions of Carcassonne, and there's even one on here that isn't an officially licensed Carcassonne version. It is a little bit different, but we'll get to that in just a few moments. Without further ado, let's get to it. So my number 5 is a game that I actually don't own because I don't really enjoy it that much, but out of the, I think, 7 or 8 different versions of Carcassonne that are out there, it's better than the other ones, so that are not on this list. So it did just barely squeak in on my top 5, and that is Carcassonne, the City. Now, Tom has talked a lot about this, and this is probably one of Tom's favorite versions of Carcassonne, but for me, it's just so-so. I do enjoy it, I just think that I'm not very good at it, so I don't enjoy the game as much as I would, as much as I do the other versions of Carcassonne. So I enjoy building the wall around the city and getting the different tiles to combo together and scoring points that way, but generally speaking, it's my least favorite of these. That's why it's at number 5. Now, my number 4 Carcassonne version is one that actually already has an expansion for it. It's a very small expansion, but it's called Carcassonne, the Star Wars Edition. Now, a lot of people don't like this one because they say it's just kind of, jumping the shark. And whereas I can agree with that, I'm a Star Wars fan at the end of the day, and I also like the combat mechanic that it enters into Carcassonne with this version of it. It's one that's just not there in most other versions of Carcassonne, at least not that I've played. And so I thought it was a breath of fresh air that I know takes kind of an acquired taste to get used to it, but I still really enjoyed it. My number 4, Carcassonne, the Star Wars Edition. My number 3 is one that I don't know for sure if it's an actually officially licensed version of Carcassonne, but it is a version of Carcassonne called the Ark of the Covenant. Now, this is a biblically themed version of Carcassonne that I really enjoy, and if only for the fact that it only adds a little bit to it. The fact that you can move the Ark of the Covenant around the village as you are building, the city rather, as you're building and scoring points for all of the meeples that it passes by. I enjoy that little aspect of the game, and other than that, it's really simply their basic game of Carcassonne. So I really enjoy the fact that it comes with kind of an expansion already built into it in the base game. I believe it's kind of hard to get a hold of right now. There might be some floating around on the internet out there, but if you have any inclination of liking biblically themed games at all, this is one, and if you like Carcassonne, this is one you really should look at. So my number 3, Ark of the Covenant. Now, my number 2 is a game that is almost like having a Euro game within a Euro game. And it, now that sounds kind of really bland. It doesn't especially sound like it would be down my alley. But Carcassonne South Seas is one of those games that really just kind of plugged in as when I first played it. I enjoy the look of it. It has a very fresh, vibrant island look to it. And collecting all of the different wares, trying to sell them for the different points, or the merchant boats that are out there for points, is just really fun in my opinion. And it's a good addition to that basic game of laying tiles and connecting them and all of that kind of stuff. So Carcassonne South Seas, my number 2. Let's move on to number 1. And my number 1 Carcassonne version that's out there is the one that just came out. This one I didn't know how I was going to like it. It's called Carcassonne Amazonas. And the thing that I like about this one is the racing mechanic down the river. It has all the other aspects of Carcassonne that you would expect to have as far as gaining points from different things, but the addition of racing down the river and gaining points that way was a really neat thing. It added a little bit more tension to it because you always wanted to be out front. So this is really my favorite version of Carcassonne. I probably even like this better than the base game with expansions thrown in. So that is my number 1 Carcassonne version, Carcassonne Amazonas. So that's it. I really enjoy the game Carcassonne, not as much as all my other favorite games, but it is a game that we can play out as a family easily, and we all pretty much have a good time playing it because we're all very familiar with it. So I hope you enjoyed the list. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with me, and we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.